Hello, what's up, guys? So this is the five-step Facebook Live formula that I used on my last major training. So I've done quite a few live videos since then, but the last major training I did was about 3 weeks ago, and it generated 521 views, 98 comments, a few shares, I think, but most importantly, 4 leads and 3 new clients. And considering my program sells at $6,500 US, that's not a joke amount of money. So you can do exactly the same if you steal this formula. Hey, Kimberly, what's going on? So you can steal this formula to get the same results, just like some of my clients are doing right now. Joanna's just had a big launch of her Pinterest program. She's been going all over everyone's feed, talking about it on her Facebook Lives. I think she sold maybe 9 or 10, I'm not sure. But for a program that sells at 5K, again, a good amount of money. So we've already done number 1 and 2 in this. So this is kind of meta, this. I'm actually going through the 5 steps in this video as I explain what they are. So try not to have your mind blown by that concept too much. But the first step is benefit intro. And I'll put plus intrigue. So the plus intrigue bit is it's optional, but it's kind of cool. So, but the benefit intro is what I said in the beginning, which is this is a five-step live formula, which I use to generate all these views and clients and leads and God knows what else. And I know that my audience are all doing loads of Facebook Lives, but they're not getting 500 odd views. They're getting like 37 views. And they're not getting 98 comments. They're getting like 1 if they're lucky, usually 0. And they're not getting any leads or clients from it either. And they just keep on putting their content out there and hoping that they're going to get some sort of results. But like after 6 months of this, where no one's come to their door and be like, can you help me with my problem? Can I join your program? But like, do I just keep on posting content forever? So my audience are going to be interested in this. So I start with that. And tied up in that is, this is the bit that most people miss. They also miss this when they're doing text posts as well. When you've got any kind of text posts where you're like, oh, I'm going to show you this trick or this technique or some sort of useful thing, they always miss this, which is credibility. I always go on about credibility. You're probably sick of me talking about it, but credibility. So I could have just said, this is my 5-step Facebook Live formula. And some people would watch and some people would be interested, yes. But I actually said the results it got. I said it generated all these views and comments and leads. So the fact I mentioned all the views and comments and leads it got meant more people are going to watch it because now it's got credibility. I also mentioned a minute ago Joanna's results, that she's like signed up like 9 people at 5K or whatever she got. Crazy amounts of results. So now you're like, okay, I might pay attention to this guy now. He might know what he's talking about. Whereas if I just said the 5-step Facebook Live formula, you might be like, well, I've got 1 billion people on my feed, it feels like, telling me, lecturing me about how to do Facebook Lives and how to write content. Why should I listen to you? And this is the bit that tells you, okay, you should listen to me. This is the bit that makes people say, okay, I'm going to pay attention to this guy. So if you look at the post I did yesterday, I did just a basic text banner post. It said, who would be interested in being tagged in a live video where I explain the 5-step Facebook Live formula that got me results? And it's like, if you look at that, it's like 70 comments, which is great. It doubles as an engagement post, but it also means I can tag all those people on here. There's a good bit of social proof. More people are going to watch the video, and it just gets everything off to a better start. So it makes it more like an event like, oh, this thing's happening that all these people are attending. I need to attend it too. There's obviously something going on here. I should pay attention to this, as opposed to just going live randomly and be like, so yeah, I wanted to talk about today. Yeah. Which brings me back to number 1. You need to jump in immediately and say, in this video, I'm going to show you, then it's given this massive benefit and credibility. Then once you've done these first 2 steps, then you can say, hi, Joe, hi, Stephen, hi, Sonny, hi, whoever's joined. You can say, let me just share this in my group, or any other stuff that you want to do at that point. But bear in mind most people are not going to watch your video live. They're going to watch it on replay. So it doesn't make sense to tailor your video to people who are watching live. So if you do what most people do, which is like, hi, yeah, can you hear me? Is my mic on? Yeah, hi. Oh, and then you say hi to like everyone who joins. Like, how are you going today? How is it where you are? Say hi. Say hashtag live or hashtag replay if you're watching live or replay. Where are you from, everybody? Let mention in the comments. And you do that for 2 minutes, nobody's going to get to the content bit because it's boring. No one wants to watch all that. They want to get straight in with the content. So if you can jump in with this bit first, the benefit and credibility, now the people know why they need to watch it. And then if you do some other stuff like you welcome people or you ask people to leave comments or whatever, well, they're still going to stick with you at this point. This is a key. This bit here, number 2, the credibility, is a key point in getting people to watch all the way through to the end. So once we've done this, we then move into the bit we're actually in right now, which is content. So I've promised to teach you the 5-step Facebook Live formula. Well, this step here is where I teach you what the 5 steps are. So obviously these first 2 bits are super, super important, because if you don't get these first 2 bits right, very few people get to number 3. So you might be putting this awesome content out there, this amazing pieces of advice. It's like, oh my God, this is changing my life. Well, nobody's watching it because you've not given them a good reason to watch at this point. So in the content, you deliver whatever your great content is. What's the lesson that you want to teach people? And generally, a bit like a TED Talk, I find it works well if you've got one single takeaway, one single lesson you want people to learn. So this is the 5-step Facebook Live formula. So your lesson is what the 5 steps are, and you can go away and do it yourself. But I'm not going to teach you how to write posts in this one. I'm not going to teach you how to write copy. I'm not going to teach you how to do sales on Messenger because it's too much stuff. I'm just talking about this one thing. So after content comes recap. And finally, I don't know why I've done that. Recap, and finally CTA. So the recap is really good. If you're doing a live video, any kind of live video, especially where it's like the 5 steps you need to take or the 3 points to this or whatever, it's really good to recap your steps at the end once you've gone through the content to say, okay, so let me just recap what I've told you, and I'm going to do this in a minute. Let me recap what you told you. Number 1 was this, number 2 was this, all the way. Number 7 was this. So people have got it all in one place so they can remember, go, oh, right, okay, that's what it was. Because what happens is, especially if you're doing like a longish training or you've got a lot of bullet points to cover, people remember the last couple and they forget what the first ones were. So it's good to kind of just wrap it all up in one place so people can be like, all right, yeah, got it again. I can do that now. And then the CTA is, hey, Mike, you're more than welcome. By the way, if you're watching live and you want me to, and you're thinking, well, how do I do a video on this? What kind of benefit intro might I have? Like the intrigue, for example, might be something that implies a bit of controversy or a good story. You know, what me getting robbed at gunpoint by banditos in Peru has got to do with me making an extra 10K a month as soon as I came home. Something along those lines. You're like, what the hell is that story? Just a bit of intrigue. It's more like to make people watch, but that's optional because I've not got really intrigue on this one, have I? It's just major benefit. You're going to learn this thing that got me loads of clients. And finally, excuse me, the CTA, call to action. So when they've learned all this stuff, what do you want them to do? Generally, my call to action is, if you want help with this, if you want to join my ecosystem program, if you want to find out more about it, send me a message. That's what my call to action generally is. And then I give good reasons and I give some credibility around the call to action. So if you message me, you're going to find that no, if you message me about my ecosystem, first of all, I'm not going to hard sell you or do no nonsense. You already know the price. We'll just have a chat, ask you some questions and see if it's right for you. And then you can choose if you want to join. We'll do most of it on Messenger if you like. No awkward sales calls where you're kind of, awkwardly pressured into buying. You just make up your own mind. I don't need to do any of that stuff. That's what I'll say in the CTA. And pretty much everyone who's ever messaged me asking a question, I'll say in this point, they've gone away with something useful, even if they haven't signed up. They've gone away with massive clarity about, okay, this is what I want to focus on in my business. This is how to make lots of money, whether they gave me any money or not. So I'll give some credibility around the CTA. I'll say previous people, when they message me, they got this great outcome, even if they didn't sign up. So then people are more likely to message me. Whereas if I just go message me for more info, well, you're then sat there going, well, Yeah, I'd like to message him, but what if it's really salesy and awkward? What if we get into some conversation where he tries to hard sell me and then I have to ghost him or say no and I just won't do it. So I need to sell that bit. So back to content, which is where we are now. So I've just covered these 5 steps. So now we're going into recap. I'm going to recap what these 5 steps are. It's kind of weird doing it at the same time as I'm explaining it. But so number 1 was the benefit intro. Now, an intrigue. By the way, if you've got a whiteboard and you're doing a live video, it's quite cool to do this and write it as you go, because it just makes it so much easier for your audience to actually consume this stuff, because then you can see what all the stuff was. So the benefit intro with credibility. So if you remember, I didn't just say, this is my 5-step Facebook Live formula. I said the 5-step Facebook Live formula I used on my last major training to generate all these views, leads, clients, what my customers have used to generate loads of views, leads, and clients. And I gave an example of Joanna, who did exactly that. Credibility, not just saying, here's how to do Facebook Lives. So it makes you more likely to watch it. So whatever niche you're in, let's say you're a dating coach, don't just say, oh, here's how to get more matches on Tinder. Here's the 3-step Tinder profile formula, which I use to get blah, 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 blah results. Even for my client, Bob, who is 45 years old, is balding and ginger, and has a massive pot belly. He was matching with the most gorgeous women he could imagine when he doesn't normally get a look in. I'll explain the formula I got for that. So it kind of shows, well, if he can do it, so can I too. Credibility, all the time, credibility. Every post I write, if I'm telling you how to do something, if I'm talking about some sort of result you can get, I'm thinking, how can I make this believable? How can I give you credibility? I'm not just throwing random tips out there and advice like, okay, here's how to do this. Here's how to do that. And you're like, well, why the hell should I listen to you? A bit like, some 19-year-old life coach appears on my newsfeed. I'm like, why am I going to listen to you? There's a guy who came to me a while ago who didn't sign up. He's like a 24-year-old who's advising people my age, I'm 40, how to have better marriages, and he's never been married. I'm like, he may have really great information, but he just doesn't have that credibility. So it's like, he's really struggling in that regard. He needs to kind of think, how can I have my credibility? Because even if he's got a really good post, I'm going to be resistant to this, because I'm always thinking, you're 24, you can't advise me on anything, thank you. Which may be wrong on my part, but that's how people are. So recap. So benefit with credibility, most important bit. You'll notice in the description of the video, I also have benefit and credibility as well, because when people are scrolling, I want to see this description. I don't just do what some people do, which is go live with no description and expect that I'm so wonderful and amazing that people are going to magically start watching my video for no reason whatsoever. I put that benefit and credibility in there. So when it appears on your newsfeed, you're going to be like, oh, I might watch this now. Also remember getting into it quickly. Most people are going to watch on replay, so don't sit there for ages going, oh, is this camera on? Can you see me? Can you hear me? Welcome everybody. Hashtag live, hashtag replay if you're watching, all that nonsense. Don't take 2 minutes to get to the point. Get straight into it, because most people are watching on the replay. Then we get into the content. So what is it you're going to teach people? And as I always say, this cannot be the same tedious stuff that people have heard before. You can't just be teaching the normal. So you need to be authentic in business. Positivity always wins. Be positive, don't be negative. What other rubbish do I hear all the time? Be yourself if you want to succeed. Like anyone sat at home going, I thought the answer was to be someone else. I thought the answer was to be all fake, but now I realize it's to be authentic. No one's thinking that. You're not teaching them anything. Whereas I hope this video, you're seeing something that you've not seen before with a bit of luck. By the way, I haven't invented this formula. I'll be honest with this. This is something I've seen Dan Henry doing, and I think he probably got it from somewhere else. Quite a few of the big names do it, but how well you do it is obviously whether you live or die by this formula, know whether it works for you or not. So how credible does it sound? How good does the benefit sound? How good is your content? Does the content match up to the promise you made? Or is it like, oh, it's a bit like, because if it doesn't, what you've effectively done is you've done some clickbait. You've made people watch your video. The magic system that works every time to pour $10,000 a day in your bank by tomorrow. And then the content is just like, set up a landing page and do a Facebook ad to it. And you're like, is that it? People are then going to feel like you baited and switched them. Like, oh, right, I'm just, you promised this big thing and didn't deliver. I ain't going to pay attention to your content again. So the content has got to match up to what you promised. Then you did a recap, which I'm doing now. So we've done benefit, intro, credibility, content. Then you recap it. And then finally we get into the call to action, which I'm about to do now. So you may be sat there, hey, thanks, Robert, I'm glad you like it. If you're, by the way, since you commented, Robert, if you're in a specific niche and you want to tell me what your business is, I can try and give you an example of something that would work well for this, if you actually want to kind of do this for yourself. Because obviously, it's good if you like the content and you're watching it and you're like, oh, this is good stuff. But I much prefer it when people actually implement. Like if I see one of you who's watching now, even one of you, if you go away and I see you do a live video like this, and I see loads of comments on the video, and I see loads of people watching it, and you're like, oh, I signed someone up thanks to your advice. I absolutely love that. Even if you're not become part of my program, I still love that you took my advice. What I don't like is when people watch it and then go away and do nothing, which is what most people do. So CTA, this is where we are now in this video. If you want my help with this stuff, because you might be sat there going, well, this sounds great, Richard. I can see how it would work for you, but how does it work for me? Send me a message. I'll help you out. Because a big part of my program, like if you end up joining my program, a big part of it is I take you through and I say, okay, do a video on this. Make this your start. When you start off, say this to your audience. Don't say that, say this. And that will keep people engaged, and that will keep them sitting there till the end, and they'll want to watch your video, and it'll give you credibility, and they'll be like, okay, and maybe I want to sign up with your program. So that's the difference, because obviously you may be sat there going, this sounds good, I'll implement it for myself. Then you'll implement it and it might not work as well as you hoped, because the reality is we see stuff like this and we implement it, and then because of the gaps in our own knowledge, because of the assumptions we make, because of our own preconceptions, we go, okay, this is how it's supposed to be done. And then you go and do it a completely different way, and it doesn't work. And that's where I come in. That's where I come in with my program. That's why people like Joanna, like Luana messaged me before. She said she's quadrupled her sales since she joined my program. And that was just from like the first couple of calls I did with her. She was converting, I think, 10%. Now she's at 40%, 4 times the income, same amount of effort. Because when you join my program, I go, okay, these are the bits we need to fix. If there's any quick wins available where it's like, okay, you could instantly make some money by doing this, we'll do that straight away. Rather than just be like, okay, follow through the program and you can post in the Facebook group if you've got questions, but I'm not really available to talk to you. It's like, no, I'm with you every step of the way. You want to message me, you want to jump on a one-on-one call, you want to talk through some stuff, you want to send me voice notes, you can do that every single day if you want, and a lot of my customers do, until they've got it, until they're making like, 40 grand from like one promotion, like I think Joanna did. It might have been slightly less than that, it might be only like 20 or 30, but still not peanuts, still well worth the investment in the program. And obviously this is the first time she's run it, it's only going to get bigger from now on. She's now got a big proper business that's going to be huge in 2020. You could do the same thing. If you've got a solid offer to start with, which is the first bit we start with, and then we build up from there with your content. If you've got a solid offer and then you build really good content on top of that offer rather than mediocre content like everyone else, you're going to get leads in your inbox. And then once you get leads in your inbox, well, guess what? I'll show you how to convert them one-on-one. You'll send me screenshots of like, oh, this person just said this. What does it mean? I'll then show you how to convert them and what to do. Dead easy. But only if you get every step of the way right. So if you like the sound of that, send me a message. Obviously, if you have got any questions, by all means, stick them in the comments. Otherwise, hope you liked this, and I will see you again very soon.